Welcome to Keepin It Comic. I'm GoofyRhexxi. The multiversal saga has been filled with a lot of multiversal events, and we're not even halfway to the end. So we thought it would be a good idea to remind us of some of the biggest multiversal events that have happened in the MCU so far. From Scarlet Witch and her love of hellish literature, to Kang versus Kangs, and of course, Loki finally having a seat. And I know what you might be thinking, what actually is a multiversal event? Well, simply speaking, a multiversal event is an event or story dealing with characters from different universes or the multiverse. Now, for starters, I want to kind of talk about Scarlet Witch here. Now, before Scarlet Witch, she was just good old Wanda. This girl has come a long way from being that scared little kid who went to hide in a room because of scary Ultron robots. Now, personally, I've always loved Wanda. She's always been incredibly powerful, but in the beginning, it wasn't clear how powerful they were gonna actually make her, because Wanda from the comics was just something else. Let's just say her reality manipulation is somewhat godlike, and it seems like they're reaching that power extent right now with Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff. Kind of cray-cray. This girl went from playing with people's minds, brainwashing the Hulk, to leveling buildings and making Thanos wet his pants. Or rain fire. It's kind of the same thing. But to discuss the multiversal event specifically, by far one of Wanda's craziest feats was when she made an entire town fall under her control, wiping their memory, having them forget that the place ever existed in the first place, just so that she can play make-believe with her family. Wow. Fast forward, later on she becomes the Scarlet Witch, which by the way is believed to have happened right around when Sylvie killed He Who Remains, and also when Doctor Strange did his spell. We'll get into that in probably some other video. Now, in the aftermath of WandaVision, Wanda became obsessed with this not so great book called The Darkhold and decided to dabble in what we in the business call dark magic. From there, the Darkhold started to corrupt her, filling her already unstable head with all sorts of bad ideas. So Wanda started to dreamwalk, which is when you take over the body of your alternate self from another universe. Now, prior to that, she discovered America Chavez, a girl who has the power to travel the multiverse, and decided that her powers were hers to keep. So Wanda savagely just starts sending monsters after her, which eventually leads to Chavez meeting up with our Doctor Strange from Earth 616. Wanda's obsession with Chavez led her to destroying Carmitage and a lot of these other sorcerers, as well as a set of Avengers from another universe. And she did it almost effortlessly, which honestly concerns your boy. This girl spaghettified Reed Richards and then turned Black Bolt into No Mouth Bolt, and she wasn't completely even in the room. Also, being that she killed the Illuminati so easily, when they were pruning universes, maybe 838 probably should have been the first one that they pruned, because let's be honest, it's just not worthy. But not so long after that, she realizes the error in her ways. When she sees a look of terror on the boys that she wanted to be with so badly, Wanda decided to end the Darkhold's corruption once and for all by using the Darkhold's connection to other Darkholds in the multiverse. Wanda destroyed everything, every single Darkhold to ever exist in every single universe. I keep thinking about just how big this event is. For someone to be so powerful that she destroys something across all multiverses, mind you, this was the same book that burned someone to death when they tried to destroy it. So there's definitely going to be some pushback to what she did, and yet Wanda destroyed millions, if not billions, of Darkholds.
Incredible.
Now, next up, did someone say, I've come to bargain? You'll get the idea of what I'm talking about when I do the script. Now, I bet you didn't expect to see Dormammu here. But yeah, technically speaking, Dormammu lives in this universe, a world beyond time, the dark dimension. So his coming to Earth is technically a multiversal event. Dormammu wanted to include Earth in his dark dimension, which everyone assumed was a bad thing. Listen, don't assume a dimension is all bad just because it has the world dark in it. Now, this dude, good old Caecilius, got a makeover, and Doctor Strange made fun of him. But yeah, you're right. If Dormammu had taken over, it would have possibly ended all life on Earth as we know it. So it took the strength, wit, and dash of time manipulation of your very friendly neighborhood sorcerer to outwit Dormammu, trapping him in a time loop, forcing the guy to relive the same moment over and over and over again until he eventually vowed to never return. Sadly though, I don't know if that's true, because we see Clea in the mid-credits of Doctor Strange 2, and she's from the Dark Dimension. Plus, if you know about their history in the comics, you know that Clea isn't always on his side. Now, next up, we gotta talk about Spider-Man and how this man broke the multiverse. Now, you knew the events of No Way Home had to be on this list, right? Honestly, it's quite remarkable how easy it is to put a hole in the fabric of reality in the MCU. I mean, think about it. One little spell goes wrong and boom, reality's broken. One enraged Kree warrior goes berserk, boom, reality's broken. Even just a little bit of dream walking and existing in another universe and boom, reality's broken. Although that one's kind of a big one, isn't it? Let's be real though. I think the MCU's reality a little fragile if you ask me, and it's kind of not really a good look. But you know what is a good look? Trying out this new merch from Keepin It Comic. Yes, guys, we finally have some Keepin It Comic or Kick merch available for you. And we got some fantastic options for you to choose from. You can get hats, you can get shirts, and even cozy sweaters, all at a super affordable price. So go get yourself some Kick merch by clicking on the link that's down below here in the description. Now, while we get back to Spider-Man, so Spider-Man botched a forgetting spell with, of course, the help of Doctor Strange, and it resulted in people who are aware of Spider-Man's secret identity getting sent to Earth 616, resulting in an excessive amount of Spider-Man villains and Spider-Men in the MCU timeline. But instead of him sending everyone home when he had the chance, he tries to do the right thing, which gets people killed and tears a hole in reality. So to fix that, Spider-Man makes everyone forget who he is. The villains go back to their universes. Well, not all of them, which is sad, but it's still the heroic thing to do. Now, if you want to hear a theory as to how I think that's going to be fixed, you should definitely check out our Madam Web video here where we go through those details. Now, I think that breaking in reality that Spider-Man did is going to have some bigger implications here as Sony starts to build out their Spider-Verse, especially potentially even with a live action Miles coming to the universe at some point in time. We'll have to keep a close eye on that one. Now, next, I got to talk about Ta Lo and the Dweller in Darkness. A lot of people don't know that the final battle in Shang-Chi technically constitutes a multiversal battle. Now, Shang-Chi's, hey auntie, actually said that the Dweller was from another universe and it's gone on a rampage destroying worlds and universes. She also clearly states that the realm of Ta Lo has cities with technologies far beyond their wildest imagination. Now, so when I had heard that, I started to think this must be another 616 adjacent realm, you know, like the quantum realm, the mirror dimension, the astral plane, any of the 9 realms, or even the various afterlives. Ta Lo is just another 616 realm. I mean, it's literally called the realm of Ta Lo. But the Dweller, it's a monster from another universe fixated on sucking souls out of people. And when it encountered our ragtag team of martial artists and Aquafina, Little Beast, still no chance. Now, Shang-Chi, show them how you do it in San Francisco. Now, of course, I would be remiss if I talked about multiversal events and not speak about the series that's actually based on them. What If tells the alternate stories of events that have occurred in the MCU. Some good, some really good, and some really, really good. Now, out of all the stories, there's one that really sticks out, right? And that's the story of how Ultron destroyed his universe by becoming Infinity Ultron. But my man wasn't done. When he realized that there were worlds beyond his own, he started destroying those universes as well, until the Watcher had to break his own oath and assemble the Guardians of the Multiverse, a group of makeshift characters, some good and some not so good, who came together to stop Ultron, which they managed to do by trapping what's left of him in a prism with Killmonger. Oh, Killmonger. Now, although it was a little challenging, of course, to be honest, Supreme Strange, who of course we got a rendition of in the Multiverse of Madness movie, did most of the legwork. I really hope he's not going to be mad about this in the next season. Now, next, boo-boo, we got to talk about this multiversal war. It's one thing to fight monsters and imprison evil robots who threaten the multiverse. It's another thing to completely wipe out the universe and create an organization just to remove new universes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, meet Nathaniel Richards, a genius from the 31st century who noticed that alternate universes existed. And while he did so, other versions of himself made the same discovery. It was a little peace in the beginning, but very soon a war broke out, a war between the entities known as Kang. Now, we never saw this battle, but we heard many horrible things. This was the biggest war ever fought in the history of existence. I mean, how could it not be? The very fate of universes and timelines was on the line. Worlds were ending, lives were taken, so many incursions, and reality breaking so many times that reality started to cry. Or more specifically, all the tears in reality accumulated and formed a monster able to cause the deletion of existence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one man weaponized this monster and used its power to eliminate billions of timelines, murdering trillions in the process while preserving a sacred timeline. That man became known as He Who Remains, and his timeline became that sacred timeline. And to preserve his work, he created a TVA, an organization that continued to prune timelines, except for 838. Just to prevent another multiversal war, even to the point where he built a failsafe that's programmed to destroy every other timeline if they get to be too much. This dude was a badass, but also a little bit of a jerk, if you ask me.
A jerk.
But as you may already know, all of that had to change because of another multiversal event. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Loki creating Yggdrasil, or the World Tree, was the biggest multiversal event since the Multiversal War. Just like it took one man's sacrifice to end it all, it took one man's sacrifice to start it all over again. Now, we've had a lot of videos. I mean, a lot of videos talking about Loki and his sacrifice and what it all means, and you can check them out after this video. But I just know that when Loki realized that he couldn't save the multiverse with the loom always destroying everything, he decided that he had to destroy the loom to get every universe a fighting chance. But after he destroys the loom, Loki sees that the worlds are all dying. He summarizes that they need a central source to connect them, otherwise there will be no life. Loki became that focal point, that nexus that stands as a source of life to the multiverse. Loki connected everything and formed that world tree. And to this day, he sits in the center of the multiverse, keeping everything together, giving us these new and amazing stories. Now, if you think about it, it's because of Loki that all these other stories are possible, including the What If stories, the Scarlet Witch story, the Spider-Man stories, and even the Tao Lo stories. If there was no multiverse, none of this could ever happen. If there was no Loki, there could be no multiverse saga. He makes the big decisions. That's why he gets to sit on that big chair. And even as I just sit here and I watch Loki with pride, like, my man, you've come so far. No one deserves to sit there more than you do, although it is kind of sad when you think about it. Now, lastly, I want to talk about this one. Now, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the Marvels movie as of yet. In a surprising turn of circumstances, we get one more multiversal event in the last scenes of the Marvels when Darben gets Kamala's bangle and uses it to rupture a hole in the multiverse, destroying herself in the process. Hold on, pause. Wasn't that kind of a dumb move by Darben? Like, seriously, what was she thinking? Now, this would have caused serious problems, but the Marvels managed to energize Monica and she uses her powers to close the rift from the other side, except now she's stuck. But Lord Almighty, dude, things get kind of interesting here because it turns out in the other universe, she gets rescued by a variant of her mother who also has Captain Marvel powers, but now she's known as Binary. But next to Binary, who do we find? Yeah, my man, Hank McCoy, Beast. Beast is in the MCU, baby. And he tells Monica that Charles wants to see her. They're finally here, guys. The X-Men are finally here, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. So yeah, that's our list of the biggest multiversal events. What events do you like? Which ones do you think probably should be added onto this list as well? Leave it down low in the comments, guys. And if you haven't done so already, hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as well. Check out our links that are down below in the description. Check out our merch that's there. Also links to follow us on social media. And as always, guys, thanks so much for kicking it with Keepin It Comic.